Hello. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Aniyah and I am your medical assistant, clinical research and healthcare administration bestie all in one. And today I'm going to be talking to you guys about why I left medical assisting. I'd say probably in the top 5 comments and questions that I get on this channel are you still a medical assistant, and if not, why did you leave medical assisting? So I thought I'd just go ahead and make a video on why I left medical assisting. So let's get into it. First of all, I want to start this video off by saying I don't feel like there's anything wrong with being a medical assistant at all. I think medical assisting is a great starter career for anybody who just wants to get experience in healthcare and doesn't know where to start. I think medical assisting gives you a really great view of the healthcare system, of the way a hospital works, of the way a clinic works. It gives you experience working with doctors, working with nurses. Interprofessional collaboration is big in healthcare, so I think that just being in the healthcare space, regardless of what the capacity is, can be valuable. I don't care what your job is. Just being in that space, even if you're a patient transporter, just being in that space can be very, very valuable. So just because I left medical assisting does not mean I am telling anybody not to be a medical assistant. I think it can be a really great experience for somebody trying to get in. With that being said, medical assisting was never anything that I planned to do long term. Kind of how I fell into medical assisting was when I went to college. I was planning on becoming a PA. Whenever you want to become a PA, you have to get a certain amount of patient contact hours. So how was I going to get these patient contact hours? Well, I started off doing work in home health and kind of like CNA work, and I felt like that experience wouldn't hold weight on a PA school application. I felt like I needed experience in a clinic. I felt like I needed experience actually working in a healthcare space. So that's when I got the idea to go back and get my CCMA, my clinical medical assistant certification, so that I can get that experience and go to PA school. That was my plan as a little freshman in college. That was my plan. Whenever I got to the point to where it was time for me to take my certification exam for CCMA, I already had a job lined up with a clinic. So at the same time, COVID was happening. COVID was on the up and up, and people were really looking for medical assistants, CNAs, nurses, pretty much all kinds of healthcare professionals to come together and help fight this thing, right? So I was doing a lot of vaccinating for the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So all they were pretty much waiting for was for me to pass my certification exam. The job was ready for me when I passed. My first job as a medical assistant paid me $20 an hour, and keep in mind I am like a sophomore going into junior year in college, so I'm like, $20 an hour, oh my gosh, this is great. Back then, obviously I don't really have a ton of bills, so I could pretty much buy whatever I wanted to off of that salary, and it was great. I felt like I was living the life, and I felt like I was getting the experience that I needed that was going to be valuable for me to apply to PA school. Okay, next. I pretty much worked in that job up until I graduated, but after we graduated, obviously my husband Rico graduated at the same time as me, and he is in the military. He's active duty Army, so I knew that he was going to be leaving and going somewhere. I just didn't know where he was going. You probably already know where this story is going. My husband got moved to Georgia. I didn't want to leave him. I didn't want him to leave me. We had never been apart at that point in our lives. We had just spent 4 years together, so the idea of being apart was not favorable for us. And also too, at the same time, I was offered a position in pharmacovigilance, coding adverse event cases for the COVID-19 vaccine that they were giving over in the UK. So they were giving a vaccine over there called Novavax, and Novavax hired our company to code adverse event cases. Everything just kind of came together. I didn't want to leave Rico, and also I had this amazing opportunity, and it was also work from home, full-time remote work from home opportunity. So I could pretty much go with him and work this job, and it was paying more. It was paying like $24 or $25 an hour. So I'm going from $20 to $24, $25 an hour. I mean, it's a great pay bump. I'm pretty much ecstatic about it. I'm ecstatic. I am like, okay, I'm going with Rico, we're doing this. Like, I am pretty much leaving this job as a medical assistant. So it wasn't even necessarily like a thing of like me saying, oh, I have to leave this job. I actually had a great time being a medical assistant. I loved interacting with people. I loved working with other healthcare professionals. I pretty much loved everything about that job. The job was very flexible, so I didn't really have to worry too much about anything. And for me, being in college, I'd say it was a pretty good pay, so I was happy. It just so happened to be the fact that we were graduating, Rico was leaving, I wanted to go with Rico, and I was offered an amazing job opportunity that was work from home that was going to allow me to stay with him and also get paid more. So, you know, things just kind of lined up. I wasn't out here with my pitchfork and my sign saying boycott the medical assisting profession or anything like that. It just so happened to line up to where I was able to kickstart my career after college in another field. Now, with that being said, I did end up deciding that I didn't want to go to PA school anymore after me and Rico left, and that decision, I mean, if you want to know why I decided I didn't want to become a PA, you can watch this video up here on why I decided not to pursue PA. So we left and I worked that job for over a year, almost a year and a half. I worked that job in pharmacovigilance, and I never decided to go back to the medical assisting profession because I felt like at that point when I took that job in pharmacovigilance, and I felt like I had crossed over into a professional realm, and going back to medical assisting to me just felt like it would have been going backwards just for where I was in my career. Did I think about going back to medical assisting? Sure, absolutely. Whenever we got laid off from that position in pharmacovigilance, because obviously COVID didn't last forever, it did die down, and with COVID dying down, so did that job, and they laid us off. So did I think about going back to medical assisting? Absolutely. The reason why I didn't was because there was not a medical assisting job anywhere that was going to pay me at or above the level that I was at. So if I was getting paid $25 an hour, I could not for the life of me find a medical assistant position, at least in the area that I was at, that was going to pay me $25 or above, which, I mean, makes sense. Pretty much whenever you see medical assistants who are commenting and they're like, oh, I make $28 an hour, I make $30 an hour, most of the time they're living in a New York or California where the cost of living is literally through the roof. No one wants to live there in order to make a wage like that, because at the end of the day, yes, you're making extra money, but you're spending extra money. I mean, sure, you have to get paid $30 an hour as a medical assistant there because your average rent is $4,000. You know what I mean? So it's give and take. I feel like it all averages out, but having higher rent is definitely not something that I would ever want. I'll just take the smaller salary living somewhere else and then have lower rent. Also, in those places, your groceries are going to be higher. Everything, gas is going to be higher. Of course you get paid $30 an hour to be a medical assistant in New York. Everything you pay for is higher there. They have to. So if we're talking just regular states who have a pretty average cost of living, your average medical assistant in those states more than likely is not going to be making above $25 an hour unless they have a ton of experience, or possibly if you work for a private practice, you may be able to see that amount of money. Working in like a hospital or a regular clinic, no, it's going to be difficult to see that amount of money. Then also too, I didn't see medical assisting as anything that I could build a career in. I mean, you don't see your average medical assistant making six figures, and depending on the type of life that you want to live, you have to decide, right? You have to decide what kind of life that you want to live and what kind of salary is going to be able to support that kind of life that you want to live. It is totally okay if you are not a high maintenance person and you can live off of $20 an hour and you can be just fine and you can be fulfilled and happy. It has always been a goal of mine to at least make it to six figures. I don't feel like I need to be like a millionaire or anything like that. I think happiness comes in other areas, and I don't think becoming a millionaire is really just the end all be all for me. But in this economy, yes, I want to be able to support myself. I want to be able to support my family. I want to be able to support my future children should I decide decide to have them, I want to be able to send them to private school, or, you know, pay for their tutoring, or, you know, pay for us to go to Disney or go on vacations and do whatever we want to do as a family. I want to be able to support that. So yes, a six-figure salary is a goal of mine. I do want to get to that point to where I'm making six figures or above, just because I feel like that is the salary that's needed in this economy in order to do all these things that I'm talking about, to have a home, to have children. Children are becoming a luxury expense, okay? In this economy, they're becoming a luxury expense. So I did not see medical assisting as a career field that would be able to support me in what my future goals were. So that is why I ultimately ended up making the decision not to return back to medical assisting. I mean, I think at that point in my life, it served its purpose and it got me some experience in the healthcare field. I was promoted in that position, so they ended up promoting me to a clinical site leader over COVID-19 vaccination sites, so it got me some leadership experience. I felt like that job served its purpose for me in that realm of life that I was in back then. But since then, I've had opportunities that have just encouraged me to not look back. I mean, could I pick up and go be a medical assistant today? I've thought about doing it on like a part-time basis, or maybe just doing something more PRN to bring in a little extra money. But other than that, no, I don't see myself going back to medical assisting. But it's all about where you are in life and what your goals are. Medical assisting could absolutely be a career for somebody else, and I know there are people who do it for 20-30 years and they may work their way up to a $30-$35 salary. If that's a goal of yours, I pray that God blesses you with those opportunities in medical assisting, and I hope that your career comes to fruition. That was just not the case for me, and what I'm looking for in a career, in a job, and in a career, and in a salary for my little family that we're building here. I got my little broke bestie here. I have to provide for him because he doesn't have any money. Ain't that right, but he likes his treats and things, so mama's got to bring in the bacon. The bacon, okay. But yeah, that is pretty much my journey with medical assisting in a nutshell. I wanted to answer this question for you all because I get asked this question a ton. If you have any other questions on this, then feel free to leave me a comment down below. If you like this video and it was helpful, give me a thumbs up. Look around on my channel, and if you like what you see, then go ahead and subscribe, okay, homegirl and homeboy? XOXO, Aniyah.